ISO 27001 Annex A 7.10 storage media. So let's start off with a definition. Storage media should be managed through their life cycle of acquisition, use, transportation, and disposal in accordance with the organization's classification scheme and handling requirements. So, how easy is that, right? We have already covered information classification. We have already covered handling requirements for data of various kinds, right? So the bulk and the lion's share of what you need to do has already been covered. It's just now talking about the actual media that underpins that particular data. In the classification scheme, we gave guidance on handling of data, the destruction of data, the destruction of the media, and the approach to it. So make sure that that is in place. Make sure about how you understand the life cycle, as with asset management, about how you acquire, manage, and destroy assets, of which storage media is an asset, and the data that it contains and that it processes and stores and transmits in line with the classification scheme and the handling policies. You're going to need topic specific policies. You want the classification, you want the handling policy, no doubt about it. And you've already got those. We've already covered that. You want a lifecycle management process. So here again, we're looking at asset management, but we'll touch on it, right? So we're going to have how you acquire storage media, where you acquire it from, how you configure it, if and how you encrypt it, how you use it, where you use it, who is responsible for it, how you monitor it, and its end of life, and how you destroy it. Storage media is under asset management. All of these steps we have covered under asset management. We just make sure that we follow them for storage media as well, right? So storage media, storage devices in our asset register, managed as an asset through the entirety of that life cycle. Reuse and destruction of storage media has its own requirements. So let's not be just deleting stuff and popping it on eBay, right? That has to be part of when we get to the end of life, right? Whether or not we're going to reuse that, whether or not we're going to then resell that. Either we're just going to destroy it. You need a policy. My policy will be destroy the storage media and just give the device without the media in it. Or you're going to delete and remove all of that data using military grading deletion techniques, all covered in your handling policy. It has to be done in a professional way if you are going to resell that. This is just one of those that I see a lot of people. Oh, we'll just give it to charity, right? They think, oh, this is just a nice easy one. Let's give it to charity. Ideally, you're probably going to set yourself up for more problems than you need. And if you are going to do it, engage with a professional to do that on your behalf. Other storage media that we've got, removable storage media. You either have a policy to not do it and the technical controls to block it, or you have a policy to do it and provide it to the individual and manage it through asset management. In general terms, you're going to implement that topic specific policy. And as long as you've covered removable storage media from a policy point of view, you're going to be fine. Think about what kind of media you'll allow and what the process is for allowing it. You know, do we want to open access? People can just plug in devices, storage devices, USB devices. Do we want some kind of process around that where people have to request it and then it gets authorized? The answer is yes, ideally we do. And then what kind of technical processes are you putting in place, such as port lockdowns or administrative processes for approval and checking? And then other things that you want to do, you know, again, about these data management tools that can restrict what can and can't be sent, or monitor and report out what has and hasn't been stored to an external storage. Physical security of removable storage is paramount and a no-brainer because it's harder to steal, right? So it's harder to track, easier to lose. So you've got to implement the controls that you've got based on risk and on the classification of data. I wouldn't be relying on like USBs and removable media for confidential data. I just wouldn't. And if the organization has a need for that for sales presentations, you know, public data, then potentially that's fine. Have your processing, but I would be strongly advised against using it for confidential data of any kind. One thing that people often overlook here is that media has a lifespan and it will degrade over time, right? So there are approaches to having multiple copies and multiple storage technologies in place. All of this was driven by your data retention requirements, but it's worth thinking about. Work with your technical teams, work with your IT teams, work with professionals in this arena, that based on the data classification that you've got, the data retention schedule that you've got, the risk associated with that data, what kind of storages are you putting in? Are you putting in single storage, mirrored storage, the backups that go around that? What is your approach to the actual technical storage media? and then document that. You need to make sure that that is all documented. The final piece that I want to touch on here is paper, because paper is storage media. So if you have it, risk assess it and control it based on risk and need. So fewer and fewer people are relying on paper, but again, the classification scheme includes that, the handling policy includes that. What is it that you're doing with paper? How are you securing it? And then how are you ultimately destroying it? And we get guidance, and you've got guidance on that. So at the end of this particular control, you have looked at other controls that you've got, specifically honing in on storage media, the media itself, and making sure that all of those protections are in place. And you're going to classify in colors, right? Another easy control that incorporates other controls that we've already covered or we're going to touch on. So it's just about understanding what that risk was and your ability to articulate that to an auditor, pulling in information from other areas that we've already covered. My name is Stuart Barker. I am the ISO 27001 Ninja, and until the next tutorial, peace out.